After 42 years of shining shoes on St. Martin's Square in Lima, Juan Castaneda Paredes says he's seen it all. The hyperinflation of the 80s, the economic boom of the 90s, and the great uncertainty of our time. While people still stop for a wax, Juan says many of his clients are worried about what lies ahead.
Por el momento, no se siente.
You can't feel it now, but I'm sure in a year or two we would also suffer from it. The world is changing, and you can't stop it.
The setting may be different, but the problems are all the same. A week after the G20 leaders in Washington pledged to join forces in combating the global financial crisis, many of them are back together, dealing with the same pain and being offered the same cure.
I think we ought to focus our efforts on three great forces for economic growth: free markets, free trade, and free people.
While the APEC leaders agreed not to create new barriers to investment and trade, most of them recognize this measure is like a painkiller, urgent and short-lived. But when the current financial cramp lets go, they will have to decide what to do with the critically ill system. Help it recuperate, as the US wants, or build a new one, as Russia and others suggest. Once seen as a symbol of money and prosperity, the Statue of Liberty now stands for losses and uncertainty. And while the APEC leaders are still trying to keep appearances, many are now asking for this lady and the country it represents to step down from the pedestal and be not only part of the problem, but also part of the solution. But that would require Washington to share some of its power with others, something Russia has long called for. And the Russian president is not the only one rallying for change. After learning about the APEC leaders gathering in Lima, Juan fixed a small Peruvian flag on the top of his booth. He says the world will never be the same again.
Bush and his policies are over. The new US president is coming. He will give power to the people.
It was the same mindset for Russian officials involved in putting together Medvedev's meeting with George W. Bush. The Kremlin made it clear it would wait for the next US president to take office before making any serious decisions that could affect bilateral relations. Their third and last meeting was probably the most conciliatory of all.
Where we need to work together, we can, and when we disagree, we're able to do so in a way that is respectful to our two nations. I thank you for coming by today and appreciate your time.
Thank you, George. In general, although we have points of disagreement, we have worked together well and will continue our work.
And this is more than just political talk. It may have begun as one country's burden, but it will take all to push through it. Oksana Boyko, RT, Lima.